Shalom. I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rechah HaKodash. That belongs to our apostles and elders, a great millstone who does lead and rule well. Shalom to all you, hopefully, like I can pushing out this word in sincerity and in truth at the four corners of the earth. And salutations also to all you Akim and Aqua for listening and learning and preparing yourselves here in these last days. All right, and to the entire host of the faith, fighting this good fight of faith, I want to say Shalom. This is your brother Quar from the DC camp. Come back at you with another lesson. And I'm going to title this one, The Lord Will Reward Their Pride. All right. And obviously, we know pride goes before destruction, man. But in particular, the pride towards the Lord's people, man, that these nations have displayed. You go into Psalms, the 83rd chapter. All these nations conspired together against us, man, But I just wanted to get a few scriptures to show, how the Lord judges the pride of these nations, man, And Lord will, this lesson be not too long. But let me start here. Shalakia. This is Zephaniah 2 verse 8. It says, I've heard the reproach of Moab and their revelings of the children of Ammon, whereby they have reproached my people and magnified themselves against their border. Therefore, as I live, saith Yahweh of hosts, the power of Israel, surely Moab shall be as Sodom, and the children of Ammon as Gomorrah, even the breeding of nettles and salt pits, and a perpetual desolation. The residue of my people shall spoil them, and the remnant of my people shall possess them. This shall they have for their pride, because they have reproached and magnified themselves against the people of Yahweh of hosts. It says Yahweh will be terrible unto them, for he will famish all the gods of the earth, and men shall worship him, every one from his place, even all the isles of the heathen. Yeah, because the Lord gonna get himself a name, man. All these other gods that's allowed to be called on in this world, that's not going to happen soon, man. And scriptures say, why does the heathen rage? And they imagine a vain thing, man. But ultimately, the Lord is going to set up the righteous, man. He's going to set up the Israelites, the people of the Most High. And these people are going to be judged, man. And I wanted to get a few examples, of these heathens being judged. Now, first, obviously, we all remember the story of David and Goliath, man. And it says Goliath challenge, right? Because he was talking crazy. I'm trying to see exactly. He was big. I'll start at 8. This is 1 Samuel 17, verse 8. Yeah. Says Satan, I was not yawning until I pressed record. It says, and he stood and cried unto the armies of Israel and said unto them, why are ye come out to set your battle in array? Am I not a Philistine, and ye servants of Saul? Choose you a man for you, and let him come down to me. If he be able to fight with me and to kill me, then will we be your servants. But if I prevail against him and kill him, then ye shall be our servants and serve us. All of them was all afraid of this guy, man. But then you got David, he accepted the challenge. So let me jump down. I'll start here. It says, 1 Samuel 17 and 21, it says, for Israel and the Philistines had put the battle in array, army against army. And David left his carriage in the hand of the keeper of the carriage and ran into the army and came and saluted his brethren. And as he talked with them, behold, there came up the champion, the Philistine of Gath, Goliath by name, out of the armies of the Philistines. And he spake according to the same words, and David heard them. And all the men of Israel, when they saw the man, fled from him and were sore afraid. And the men of Israel said, have ye seen this man that is come up? Surely to defy Israel is he come up. And it shall be that the man who killeth him, the king will enrich him with great riches, and will give him his daughter, and make his father's house free in Israel. And David spake to the men that stood by him, saying, what shall be done to the man that killeth this Philistine, and taketh away the reproach from Israel? For who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living power? And I love this story because it just shows you, man, no matter what power that these heathens, they may seem to have, we have the greater power, man. You know, we are the chosen people of the Most High. It says, that he should defy the armies of the living power. And the people answer him after this manner, saying, so shall it be done to the man that killeth him. And Eliab, the eldest brother, heard when he spake unto the men, and Eliab's anger was kindled against David, and he said, why camest thou down hither? And with whom hast thou left those few sheep in the wilderness? I know thy pride and the naughtiness of thine heart, for thou art come down that thou mightest see the battle. And David said, what have I now done? Is there not a cause? And he turned from him toward another, and spake after the same manner. And the people answered him again after the former manner. And when the words were heard which David spake, they rehearsed them before Saul. Hold on, I'm trying to get to the point. Hold on, I want to see what this dude said. So, because I don't want to read the whole thing, you know. But if you're unfamiliar with the story about Shah, read it, you know. Okay, here you go. It says, and the Philistine came on and drew near unto David, and the man that bare the shield went before him. And when the Philistine looked about and saw David, he disdained him, for he was but a youth and ruddy and of a fair countenance. Yeah, he looked like a warrior, you know. So he was pissed. It says, and the Philistine said unto David, am I a dog that thou comest to me with staves? And the Philistine cursed David by his gods. You see that? And the Philistine said to David, come to me, and I will give thy flesh into the fowls of the air and to the beasts of the field. Then said David to the Philistine, thou comest to me with a sword and with a spear and with a shield, but I come to thee in the name of Yahweh of hosts, the power of the armies of Israel, whom thou hast defiled. This day will Yahweh deliver thee into mine hand, and I will smite thee and take thy head from thee, and I will give the carcasses of the host of the Philistines this day unto the fowls of the air and to the wild beasts of the earth, that all the earth may know that there is a power in Israel. And this is the thing. You know, the Lord always does this so they know that the Lord is the one that ruleth in the kingdom of men. All right? And then this is exactly what happened. David took one of them stones and smashed it in his brain. And then cut off his head, man. You know? That reminds me of the other story of Nebuchadnezzar. Let's get that. It's in Daniel 4. All right. Because he had pride, man. This is what it's about. You know, they got pride against the Lord's people and himself. All right. Because you reproacheth us, you reproacheth our Lord. All right. This is Daniel 4, verse 28. It says, all this came upon the king Nebuchadnezzar, Salakia. At the end of 12 months, he walked in the palace of the kingdom of Babylon. The king spake and said, this is the pride. Is not this great Babylon that I have built for the house of the kingdom of my might, of my power, and for the honor of my majesty? While the word was in the king's mouth, there fell a voice from heaven saying, O King Nebuchadnezzar, to thee it is spoken, the kingdom is departed from thee, and they shall drive thee from men, and thy dwelling shall be with the beasts of the field, and they shall make thee to eat grass as oxen, and 7 times shall pass over thee, until thou know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whosoever he will. All right, and that's what the Lord's going to do in these last days anyway. Give it to whom he will, the ones that's profitable. But that's another lesson. All right. And so, look, then the Lord made that happen, man. It said the same hour was the thing fulfilled upon Nebuchadnezzar. He was driven from men and did eat grass as oxen, and his body was wet with the dew of heaven, till his hairs were grown like eagle's feathers, and his nails like birds' claws. He turned him into a damn animal. And at the end of the days, I, Nebuchadnezzar, lifted up my eyes to heaven, and my understanding returned unto me, and I blessed the Most High, and I praised and honored him that liveth forever, whose dominion is an everlasting dominion, and his kingdom is from generation to generation. And yeah, the Lord is going, just like that, the Lord's going to make all of them know that he is the true power, man. And you have Belshazzar. I always say his name wrong. Belshazzar. He did the same thing, man. Got proud. And then that's where that famous writing is on the wall. The kingdom was taken from him, man. It says it, where did Daniel say it? Because he was pretty much telling him, man, you know all these things that happen, and you still doing the same thing. I can't find exactly where it's at, but that was one example. All right. There was another one where King Agrippa didn't give the Lord the glory in Acts. Let's see. 12. It's in Acts 12. The death of Herod, right? It says, and Herod was highly displeased with them of Tyre and Zidon. This is Acts 12 and 20. But they came with one accord to him, and having made Blastus the king's chamberlain their friend, desired peace, because their country was nourished by the king's country. And upon a set day, Herod, arrayed in royal apparel, sat upon his throne and made an oration unto them. Mind you, he was over the Israelites at that time. It says, and verse 22, and the people gave a shout, saying, it is the voice of a God and not of a man. And immediately the angel of the Lord smote him, because he gave not the Most High the glory, and he was eaten of worms and gave up the ghost, or the spirit. He was killed, man, because he didn't give the Lord the glory, man. He stood in that seat of pride. All right. You got another story, with Haman. It's the book of Esther, but my favorite one is in Maccabees, which I'm going to get. But let me see what I want to get, because this story is kind of long. Esther. All right. Just get it real quick, man, because he plotted against us, but it fell upon his own head. It says, Esther 3 verse 1. It says, after these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman. Mind you, that we was in captivity at this point. Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes that were with him. Because, he was proud. And all the king's servants that were with the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence him. Then the king's servant, which were in the king's gate, said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Now it came to pass, when they spake daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai's matters would stand. For he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had showed him the people of Mordecai, whereof Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. All right, so he wanted to kill him. Now I'm wanting to see if I can get straight to the point. Like I said, this joint is long. I'm gonna just jump to this part. But if you're unfamiliar with the story, read from 3 to 7. It says Haman is hanged. It says Esther 7 verse 7. It says, and the king arising from the banquet of wine in his wrath went into the palace garden, and Haman stood up to make a request for his life to Esther the queen. Yeah, because Esther became the queen of Ahasuerus. Because he had that high spot, but then the Lord, made it work to where she became the queen, and it fell on his own head. For he's begging for his life. For he saw that there was evil determined against him by the king. Then the king returned out of the palace garden into the palace of the banquet of wine, and Haman was fallen upon the bed wherein Esther was. Then said the king, will he force the queen also before me in my house? Hey, he was begging for his life, but it looked like he wanted to force the queen. As the word went out of the king's mouth, they covered Haman's face. And Harbonah, one of the chamberlains, said before the king, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman had made for Mordecai, who had spoken good for the king, standeth in the house of Haman. Then the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he prepared for Mordecai. Then was the king's wrath pacified. Because he set those gallows for Mordecai when Mordecai wouldn't bow to him. He wanted Mordecai and all the Israelites to die, man. But then it fell upon his own head. And this was just the Lord's doing, man. Because the Lord worketh on the minds of these kings. All right, now, another one that I wanted to get was the book of Maccabees. And I'll close on this one because I gotta get ready to leave up out of here. 2 Maccabees 9. All right. Yeah. This is one of my favorite ones because this dude had straight up pride. Just wanted to eliminate us. But remember, they can, like Yahushua said, you can do nothing but that which the Lord give you. The power that the Lord gave you, man. If the Lord don't want to see fit that we be done away with, then it ain't going to happen, man. And it's not going to happen. All right, but it's Antiochus or Antiochus. It's 2 Maccabees 9 verse 1. It says, about that time came Antiochus with dishonor out of the country of Persia, for he had entered the city called Persepolis and went about to rob the temple and to hold the city, whereupon the multitude running to defend themselves with their weapons put them to flight, Salakia. And so it happened that Antiochus began to put to flight, the inhabitants returned with shame. Now, when he came to Ecbatane, news was brought him what had happened unto Nicanor and Timotheus. Then, swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Jews the disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee. Therefore, because he wanted to try to destroy us, and they got put to flight. So he was mad. It says, therefore commanded he his chariotmen to drive without ceasing and to dispatch the judgment of the Most High now following him. For he had spoken proudly in this sort, that he would come to Jerusalem and make it a common burying place of the Jews. He had much pride, man. He was going to make it a burying place of the Jews. It says, but the Lord Almighty, the power of Israel, smote him with an incurable and invisible plague, or as soon as he had spoken these words, a pain of his bowels that was remediless came upon him, and sore torments of the inner parts, and that most justly, for he had tormented other men's bowels with many and strange torments. Howbeit he nothing at all ceased from his bragging, but still was filled with pride, breathing out fire in his rage against the Jews, and commanding to haste the journey. But it came to pass that he fell down from his chariot, carried violently, so that having a sore fall, all the members of his body were much pain. So he got smoked with an incurable disease, then he fell, and his whole body was hurting. And thus he that a little afore thought he might command the waves of the sea, so proud was he beyond the condition of man, and weighed the high mountains in the balance, was now cast to the ground and carried into a horse litter, showing forth unto all the manifest power of the Most High. So that the worms rose up out of the body of this wicked man, and whilst he lived in sorrow and pain, his flesh fell away, and the filthiness of his smell was noisome to all his army. And the man that thought a little afore he could reach the stars of heaven, no man could endure to carry for his intolerable stink. And then now the stars of heaven, though they set forth their nest amongst the stars, that yet shall they be brought down. And this is the Edomites, man. This is why we're not worried about them in their power, man. Because the Lord, as He's always shown, He's gonna reward them for their pride, man, against Him and His people. All right. It says, here, therefore, being plagued, he began to leave off his great pride and to come to the knowledge of himself by the scourge of the Most High, his pain increasing every moment. And this is also familiar with the Exodus. This Pharaoh, the Lord hardened his heart. He was prideful. He wouldn't let the Lord's people go, and the Lord plagued him little by little until He let them go, until ultimately He just completely destroyed them, man. It says, and when he himself could not abide his own smell, he said these words, it is meet to be subject unto the Most High, and that a man that is mortal should not proudly think of himself if he were the Most High. And these devils is making that same mistake, trying to chip the Lord's people, okay, and make the world their servants. They trying to put themselves in the seat of the Most High, and it's ultimately going to fail them. All right. And let me see. I think that's all I wanted. But all these stories you gotta read. You should read. You should read to build yourself up, to build your faith. That these devils, they may seem to have power, but they don't really have power, man. They only got the power that the Lord gives them, man. And the Lord is gonna reward them for their pride and for what they're gonna do, what they're gonna try to do to the Lord's people, and has done and continue to do. So with that, Lord willing, that was edifying. Until the next lesson, I want to give all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah Kodash. And I want to say shalom.